Have you ever felt it? That feeling like you're screaming into a void. You put in the work, you try your best, you do everything right, but it feels like there's an invisible wall between you and the life you know you're meant to live. It's not failure, it's worse. It's stagnation. It's the feeling of running on a treadmill at full speed yet going nowhere. What if I told you that feeling of being stuck isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong, but a signal that your reality is waiting for a command to shift, a command you already know how to give, but were never taught. The truth is, we've been lied to, all of us. We were taught that great change is a linear process, a slow, painful climb, step by step, that you have to fix your old self, heal every broken piece of your past before you're worthy of a different future. But that's the longest, most inefficient route possible. It's like walking from New York to Los Angeles when you own a private jet. That jet is called a quantum leap. And here's the most important part. It's not some cheesy, positive thinking concept. It's not a metaphor for changing your perspective. It is a physical mechanism of the universe, an instantaneous shift from one timeline to another, one reality to another. Think about it. In the early 20th century, Nobel Prize-winning physicist Niels Bohr discovered that electrons in an atom can jump from one energy orbit to another instantly. They don't fly through the space in between. They simply disappear from point A and reappear at point B. A discontinuous transition. That's physics, not philosophy. And great spiritual thinkers like Neville Goddard have been talking about this for decades, about the infinite potential realities that coexist right here, right now, waiting for us to choose them. Physics and spirituality are meeting at a single point, and they're both saying the same thing. You don't have to build a bridge to your future. You can jump there. The goal of this video isn't to fix your old life. It's to make it obsolete. Over the next 30 minutes, you're going to get 3 core things. You will understand the physical mechanism behind why you feel stuck and how your focus is accidentally locking you into an unwanted reality. Will give you a precise 5-step protocol, a daily ritual to begin initiating your own quantum leap, and you will discover the #1 trap that causes 99% of people to fail right after they jump, and how you can be in the 1%. Before we dive into how to turn your brain and body into a reality-shifting machine, let's shatter the biggest illusion about the power of your focus. The next section will show you how you are collapsing your reality every single second, and how to take back control. Science has proven that on a subatomic level, the physical world you see doesn't actually exist until it's observed. Now, what if I told you that your life, your career, your relationships, your bank account, all operate under that exact same law? This isn't just a theory. It's the result of one of the most famous and bizarre experiments in the history of physics, the double-slit experiment. Let me explain it simply. When scientists fired particles like electrons at a screen with 2 slits without observing them, the particles behaved like waves. They passed through both slits at once and created an interference pattern on the other side, a pattern of multiple possibilities, multiple potentials. But this is where things get weird. When they placed a detector to observe which slit the electron went through, the impossible happened. The moment they were observed, the electrons stopped acting like waves. They behaved like individual particles, passing through only one slit and creating 2 simple straight lines on the other side. In other words, the very act of observation forced a field of infinite possibilities to collapse into a single, concrete event. The raw truth is this: at its most fundamental level, the universe is a vast ocean of pure potential, waiting for a consciousness, an observer, to turn it into matter. And that observer is you. Every second of every day, you are running this experiment with your own life. The quantum field is the ocean of all possibilities. the possibility that you're wealthy, the possibility that you're healthy, the possibility that you meet the love of your life. They all exist simultaneously as waves of energy, and your focus, your attention, your emotion is the act of observation, as Dr. Joe Dispenza, a leading neuroscientist, has shown. Your thoughts send an electrical signal out into the quantum field. Your feelings create a magnetic signal that draws reality to you. The combination of how you think and feel creates a state of being, a unique electromagnetic signature that is constantly broadcasting the command for how energy should collapse into matter. And this is the fatal mistake most of us make. You say you want more money. That's your thought. But what's the first emotion you feel when you wake up? Anxiety about bills. What do you feel when you check your bank account? Lack. What do you feel when you see someone else succeed? Envy. Do you see the problem? You're using your thoughts to aim for wealth, but you're using your entire energetic field and emotional state to observe lack. You are broadcasting the strongest possible signal of scarcity, and the quantum field, being a neutral, non-judgmental mirror, simply reflects back the exact signal you're sending out. It brings you more circumstances that make you feel lack. It's not punishing you, it's obeying you. So how do you change this? By becoming aware of what you're actually observing. Here's an exercise for you, the focus audit. For the next 24 hours, become a scientist of your own life. Get a notebook and write down the top 3 things you spend the most mental energy thinking and feeling about. Not what you want to think about, but what your mind defaults to when it's left unchecked. Is it your debt? An old relationship? An injustice at work? This isn't about judging yourself. This is about gathering data. Because what you write down is the blueprint of the reality you are unintentionally creating every single day. Once you know what you're observing, you can begin to consciously change your point of view. But before you can sustainably change your focus, you have to confront a force more powerful than a fleeting thought. You have to confront an addiction, the addiction to your old self. In the next section, we'll dive into the neuroscience behind identity and how to break your dependency on the familiar emotions that have kept you trapped in the past. Your personality isn't who you really are. It's just a set of neural pathways you've rehearsed so many times they've become a habit. The good news? You can break that habit, starting today. In the last section, we learned that your focus collapses. Reality. But the real question is, who or what is controlling that focus? The answer, your old self. And that old self isn't just a story or a memory. It's a physical, tangible structure in your brain. Imagine your brain is a dense jungle. Every time you have a new thought, it's like trying to hack a new path with a machete. It's difficult and takes a lot of effort, but every time you repeat a familiar thought, emotion, or behavior, you're walking down a well-worn path. Repeat it enough, and that path becomes an 8-lane, brightly lit neural highway. Your mind will automatically take that route because it's the path of least resistance. This ability of the brain to physically change is what science calls neuroplasticity. And it's the key to understanding this. Your old self isn't a life sentence. It's just a running program that you have the power to rewrite. But the problem goes deeper than just the pathways in your brain. It's embedded in your entire body. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza, every time you have a thought, your brain produces a corresponding chemical. These chemicals create an emotion. If you constantly think worried thoughts, your body is flooded with the chemical cocktail of anxiety. If this goes on long enough, the cells in your body get used to receiving those chemicals, and they start to get addicted to them. Your body literally becomes addicted to the feelings of worry, guilt, low self-worth, or victimhood. This is a silent addiction. When you try to think positively or make a change, it's your own body that sends a distress signal to the brain. Hey, I'm not getting my usual dose of cortisol and adrenaline. What's wrong? Please worry about something immediately. And your mind will automatically search for a problem in the past or future to worry about, just to satisfy the body's chemical craving. That's why change is so hard. You're not just fighting a mental habit. You're fighting a physiological addiction. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is 35, a talented, intelligent, and successful manager at her job, but her love life was a disaster. She constantly attracted men who didn't respect her, didn't value her, and took her for granted. On the surface, everyone saw the problem as bad men, but when we worked together, we discovered the real issue. As a child, Sarah learned that to receive love, she had to be useful, she had to please others. The people-pleaser identity became her survival strategy. Over time, it became a neural highway. Her brain automatically looked for ways to please others, and her body became addicted to the momentary feeling of being needed, followed by the painfully familiar feeling of disappointment. She wasn't consciously seeking out bad men. Her program, her body's chemical addiction, was unconsciously attracting people who could help her replay that familiar chemical drama. Sarah's breakthrough didn't come when she tried to change the men. It came when she realized, I am not Sarah. I am just running the Sarah program, and I can uninstall it. So how do you uninstall a program that's deeply embedded in both your mind and body? You don't have to fight it. You just have to stop using it. You abandon the old neural highway. Over time, weeds will grow over it, and the path will disappear. Instead, you put all your energy into clearing and paving a new path, and the first step to doing that is to become conscious of your unconscious programs. The focus audit exercise we talked about earlier is the tool for that. The lesson here is, transformation isn't about learning something new. It's the process of unlearning who you thought you were. It's realizing you are not your personality. You are the consciousness that is observing it. Now you understand the neurological barrier. But what happens when your mind is determined to take the new path, but your body is still screaming to go back? What happens when the memories and traumas aren't just in your brain, but are locked in every fiber of your being? In the next part, we'll explore why the body keeps the score, and how to release the trapped energy that's preventing your quantum leap. You can recite affirmations of abundance all day. You can meditate on peace for hours. But if your nervous system is still stuck in a survival and scarcity mode from 10 years ago, your body will always veto your mind's request. It's time to get your body on board. In the last section, we talked about uninstalling the old program in the brain. But there's a gatekeeper even more powerful than your mental habits. It's your autonomic nervous system. Think of it this way. Your nervous system has two main modes: fight or flight mode. This is the red alert state. Your heart races, your muscles tense, and stress hormones like cortisol flood your body. It's designed to help you survive a real threat. Rest and digest mode. This is the state of safety. Your body relaxes, heals, creates, and recovers. And here's the hard truth. For most of us in the modern world, fight or flight has become the default setting. The pressure of work, financial stress, past traumas, all of it keeps the inner guard on constant high alert. Pioneers in the field of trauma, like Bessel van der Kolk, author of the classic book The Body Keeps the Score, and Dr. Peter Levine, have proven that trauma and stress aren't just memories in the mind. They are incomplete survival responses that get frozen in your nervous system. The energy that was mobilized to help you fight or flee at that moment, if not released, gets trapped. It becomes a background vibration of fear and unease, constantly running beneath the surface. Imagine you're the CEO of your life. Your mind, the CEO, sets a new vision. We are moving towards financial freedom and inner peace. But your body, or rather your nervous system, is the company's security guard, still operating from an old memo from 10 years ago that says, "Danger, Scarcity. Always be on alert. Every time you try to take an action towards freedom, like investing or setting a boundary, the inner security guard pulls the alarm. Your body is flooded with stress chemicals, and you suddenly feel fear, procrastination, or the urge to self-sabotage. Your body just vetoed the CEO's request. It's trying to protect you based on outdated information. Energetically, your body is broadcasting an incredibly powerful signal of scarcity and unease into the quantum field, a signal that often overpowers your conscious thoughts. So how do you update the memo for that security guard? You can't use logic to argue with a survival response. You have to speak the body's language, and that language is sensation, movement, and breath. This is where we practice somatic release. It's simply allowing your body to complete those unfinished energy cycles. Now I want you to do a very simple but incredibly powerful exercise with me. Trust me on this. Stand up right where you are. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent. Relax your shoulders. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Start by gently shaking your hands as if you're trying to shake water off them. Now let that shaking move up your arms, into your shoulders, your chest, and your upper body. Let it be natural. Allow it to move down into your hips, your thighs, and both of your legs. Loosen your jaw. Breathe deeply into your belly. For the next 60 seconds, let go of control. Let your body shake the way it wants to. It could be small vibrations or big shakes. Don't judge it. Stop, take a deep breath in, and let it out. What do you feel? A little lighter, a tingling sensation. The exercise you just did mimics the way animals in the wild release trauma energy after escaping a predator. By shaking, you are sending a powerful signal to your nervous system that says, the danger has passed. We are safe now. You are resetting the system. Your body is not your enemy. It's a loyal ally that needs new instructions. By working with it instead of against it, you are creating coherence from the inside out. Your mind has been enlightened. Your body is beginning to feel safe. Now you are truly ready. You are ready to learn the specific protocol to consciously direct your energy. In the next section, we'll get to the heart of this video, the 5-step process of the broadcast shift. You understand the physics, you understand the neuroscience, and you've started to work with your body. Now, I'm going to give you a precise 5-step process you can use every single day to consciously shift your energetic frequency and change your timeline. I call it the broadcast shift protocol. It's simple, it's powerful, and it works. Step 1. Recognize the signal. When a familiar negative emotion arises, fear, doubt, anger, stop immediately. The first mistake we make is to identify with the emotion. I am scared. I am doubtful. From now on, change that. See it as a neutral observer. See it like a notification that pops up on your phone. You are not the notification. You are just the one reading it. Say to yourself, that's the energy of fear rising. That's the old program running. With this simple act, you've created a space. You've separated yourself from the automatic reaction. You are no longer a slave to the emotion. You are the observer of it. This is the first step in taking back your power. Step 2. Interrupt the pattern. The old program runs on momentum. To change it, you need to physically interrupt the cycle. This action is like hitting the pause button on a movie. It creates a moment of stillness where you can make a new choice. Pick an interruption action for yourself. It must be simple and something you can do anywhere. For example, hand on heart. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. And take one deep breath. This immediately brings you back to your body in the present moment. Change your posture. If you're sitting, stand up tall. Stretch. Changing your physical state changes your mental state. A snap of the fingers, a sharp, decisive snap, like a signal to your brain. Old program cancelled. awaiting new command. This action sends a clear message to your nervous system. The automatic reaction is over. I am in control now. Step 3. Embody the frequency. This is the heart of the leap. After creating that empty space, you need to fill it with the frequency of the reality you desire. Note: the goal isn't to visualize the car or the house. The goal is to feel the emotional state of the person who already has them. Let's practice. For 90 seconds, if you can, close your eyes. Ask yourself this question: the person I want to become, the person who already has everything I desire, how would they feel right now? Would it be a feeling of absolute safety, infinite freedom, deep abundance, or a solid peace? Pick one feeling. And now, breathe that feeling in. Imagine you're breathing it into every cell in your body. Feel it in your chest, in your stomach, in your arms and legs. Don't just think about it. Become it, right here, right now. Just 90 seconds in this state is enough to start changing your body's chemistry and broadcast a completely new electromagnetic signal. Step 4. Act from the new state. Once you're in the new frequency, take one small action from that state. This is when you prove to the universe that your change is real. There are two types of action. Desperate action comes from a place of lack. I have to send 100 resumes because I'm scared of being unemployed. It's heavy, forced, and anxious. Inspired action comes from a place of abundance. Because I am a confident and talented person, sending this email to my dream company is a natural next step. It's light, intuitive, and powerful. The action can be very small. Sending an email you've been procrastinating on, saying no to an inappropriate request, or simply smiling at a stranger. The issue isn't the scale of the action, but the energetic frequency behind it. Step 5. Detach with certainty. This is the final and most difficult step. After you've sent the signal, your job is done. Imagine you've just ordered something from Amazon. You don't repeatedly call customer service asking, "Where's my order?" You trust that it's on its way. Detachment is that trust. It's not giving up. It's the deep certainty that once you've broadcast the signal, the quantum field has received it and is arranging everything to respond. Constantly checking for results only broadcasts a signal of doubt and lack, and it will cancel your order. Your job is to hold the frequency. The universe's job is to handle the logistics, recognize, interrupt, embody, act, and detach. Those are the 5 steps to becoming the conscious creator of your reality. But what happens when you try to embody a frequency of abundance, but a part of you feels like a fraud? What happens when you force yourself to be happy, but feel empty inside? In the next section, we will expose the biggest quantum trap, the deadly difference between holding a frequency and toxic positivity. Have you ever tried to be positive, but felt like a fraud deep down? You put a smile on your face while your soul is screaming. There's a reason you feel that way, because the quantum field doesn't respond to the mask you wear. It responds to the truth you feel. Today, we're going to dismantle one of the most toxic myths in the self-development world. After hearing about the 5-step process, many people fall into a subtle trap. They think that embodying the new frequency means they have to be happy and positive 100% of the time. They believe that a single negative thought or a fleeting sad emotion will ruin the whole process, and so they start a war with themselves. They suppress their anger, ignore their sadness, and run away from their fear. They become guards of their own minds, and their lives become exhausting. This is called toxic positivity, and energetically, it's worse than just letting yourself be. Sad. Imagine you're trying to hold a giant beach ball underwater. You can pretend to the whole world that it's not there, but underneath the surface, you're using all your strength to hold it down. Your energy isn't being used for creation, it's being used for suppression, and that ball, that suppressed emotion, is creating a powerful undercurrent of resistance. The quantum field doesn't hear your affirmations. It feels that resistance, so what's the right choice? It's not toxic positivity, it's consciously holding a frequency. This is the core difference. Holding a frequency doesn't mean you never feel negative. It means that when a negative emotion comes, you meet it with wise permission. You become a gracious host instead of a tyrant. The process looks like this. Acknowledge. An uncomfortable emotion arises. Instead of resisting, you say, hello, sadness, I see you're here. You allow the emotion to exist in your space without judgment. You don't need to fix it, you just need to let it be present. Observe. This is where you apply the wisdom of masters like Eckhart Tolle. He calls this accumulated negative emotion the pain body. It's an old energy field within you that occasionally rises up to seek food, which is suffering. You are not it. You are the consciousness observing. It observed the emotion, like you would observe a dark cloud passing in the sky. You are the sky, not the cloud. Return. When you allow that cloud to pass without clinging to it, it will dissolve on its own. And as its intensity fades, you gently and consciously return to the frequency you chose in step 3. You come back home. Many people fear, if I feel sad for 10 minutes, will I attract more sadness? The answer is no. The quantum field responds to your dominant frequency, your default state, your home frequency. A fleeting emotion is just a visitor. It doesn't change your home address. The real damage doesn't come from the negative emotion itself. It comes from the judgment and fear you attach to it. The downward spiral of, oh no, I felt sad. Now I've ruined everything. I'm such a failure, is what broadcasts a chaotic signal and pulls you down. So the lesson here is, the goal isn't to never feel bad. That's an unrealistic and exhausting standard. The goal is to become a master at returning home, returning to your chosen frequency faster and more easily each time. That is emotional resilience. So now you have the process. You know how to navigate your inner world in a healthy way. But what happens when you do everything right and your outer world explodes into chaos? What happens when the jump actually begins and it feels nothing like you imagined? In the next part, welcome to The Void. We will decode the chaos and silence that happens right after you make the leap. So you did it. You practiced the protocol, you chose a new frequency, you made the leap, and then everything started to fall apart. Your close friends don't get you anymore. The job that once felt safe now feels suffocating. The silence on your phone is deafening, and a panicked voice in your head screams, I did something wrong. Let me tell you this, you did nothing wrong. Congratulations, you have entered the void. And this is where the real magic begins. The void is an energetic, transitional space. It's the no man's land between your old timeline and your new one. The old reality has begun to dissolve because you're no longer feeding it energy. But the new reality hasn't fully crystallized into matter yet. And yes, it feels a lot like failure. It's lonely, it's chaotic, it's challenging. But this is not a regression. This is energetic resonance correcting itself. Let's use this metaphor. It will clarify everything. Imagine your old life operated on frequency 97.5 FM. Everything in your life, your friends, your job, your habits, your beliefs, was tuned to 97.5 FM. Everyone was listening to the same music, speaking the same language. By doing the inner work, you didn't try to fix the song on 97.5. You made a bold decision to turn the dial to a completely new frequency, 108.0 FM, the frequency of abundance, freedom, and power. So what happens when you turn the dial on a radio? You hear static, white, noise, bits of the old station fading in and out, distorted, chaos. The void is that static. Your old friends, still on 97.5, can't hear you clearly anymore. The conversations feel out of sync. The energy doesn't match. Your old job is a song that belongs on 97.5, and now it sounds jarring to you. This chaos is not a mistake. It's the sound of the universe recalibrating. The old signals must fade away to make room for the clear signal of 108.0 FM to lock in. Look at the life of Steve Jobs. In 1985, he was bitterly fired from Apple, the company he co-founded in his garage. To the world, it was a humiliating failure. He was pushed into a massive career void. What did he do? He didn't try to go back to being an old version of himself. He didn't try to tune back into the old Apple station. Instead, in that void, he held his new frequency, the frequency of limitless innovation and creativity. He founded Next and Pixar, and then the magic happened. The universe recalibrated. Apple, on the brink of bankruptcy, eventually had to buy Next, bringing Steve Jobs back not as an employee, but as the CEO. The void wasn't a detour in his career. It was the necessary path for him to become a legend. So, what is your job when you're in this transitional space? It's very simple, but not at all easy. Don't panic. Understand that this is a necessary part of the process. Don't try to go back. Don't call old friends just to find familiar comfort. Don't cling to the old job. Just because it's safe, don't try to explain. People who are still listening to 97.5 won't be able to understand the melody of 108.0. Your only job is this. Continue to hold the new frequency. Keep practicing the 5-step process. Trust, rest, focus on feeling good now without needing proof. From the outside world, the void is not emptiness. It's the cocoon. It's the womb of creation. It's the silence before the most beautiful music of your life begins to play. It's the final test of your faith in the new person you've chosen to be. So you've learned the theory, the protocol, and how to navigate the toughest challenges. But what does a successful quantum leap actually look like in the life of an ordinary person? In the next section, I'll introduce you to the story of Mark. We'll break down his real-life journey step by step from a burnt-out freelancer to a successful entrepreneur. The theory is great, the process is useful, but I know what you're thinking. Does this really work in the real world? For a normal person with normal pressures? The answer is yes, and today I want you to put all the theory aside. I want to introduce you to the story of Mark. Mark is not a spiritual guru. He's a client of mine, a freelancer in the marketing field, and he made one of the clearest quantum leaps I've ever witnessed. This is the step-by-step blueprint of how he went from being burnt out and in debt to running a 7-figure online business in 18 months. Phase 1. The portrait of the old Mark. When I first met Mark, he was the model of the tragic hero. He was talented, worked insanely hard, and was always the one to rescue his clients' projects at the last minute. His old self was built on a toxic belief system. Money must come from sacrifice and hard labor. Rest is a sign of laziness. My worth is measured by how busy I am. Biochemically, his body was addicted to stress. He was addicted to the thrill of a looming deadline, addicted to the role of the indispensable hero. Even though his mind craved freedom, his body constantly sought out situations to recreate the familiar feeling of being overwhelmed. The result? His income was feast or famine. He attracted demanding clients who paid late, and he was completely exhausted with no time or energy for himself. He was observing and embodying the reality of struggle. Phase 2. The moment of collapse. Mark's turning point didn't come from a success, but from a bitter victory. He had just finished a massive project, working 18-hour days for a month straight. He received his biggest paycheck ever. But instead of feeling happy, he felt empty and nauseous. He looked at the money in his account and realized it wasn't worth his health and sanity. That was his moment of truth. He realized the enemy wasn't the clients or the market. The enemy was the hero identity inside him, the identity that was addicted to struggle. That night he made a decision, not to find better clients, but I am firing my old self, the person who believes he has to suffer to succeed. That person's contract has expired. Phase 3. Mark in the void. The decision was made, and the universe immediately tested him. The following week, his biggest client, who accounted for 60% of his income, called with an unreasonable demand. The old Mark would have immediately agreed, but the new Mark applied the process. Recognize, there's the fear of losing income. Interrupt. He stood up, went to the balcony, and took a deep breath for 1 minute. Embody. He asked, how would a respected business owner who values his time feel? He felt calm and confident. Act. From that state, he went back and replied to the email politely but firmly, declining the request and proposing a more reasonable solution. Detach. He sent the email and went for a walk, trusting that he had acted from his new self. The result? The client left. Mark's income plummeted. His friends told him he was crazy. He had entered the void. Instead of panicking, he saw it as an opportunity. He used the free time to do something he never allowed himself to do: rest, read, and pursue an idea for an online course he had long dreamed of. He was holding the frequency of creativity and freedom, despite what his bank account was saying. Phase 4. The new reality crystallizes. After about 2 months in the void, the magic started to happen. An old colleague he greatly respected suddenly called to partner on a perfect project with higher fees and absolute respect. During a walk, the idea for his online course suddenly became clear in every detail, as if it was downloaded into his head. When he launched the course, ideal students started finding him. They were people who were happy to pay for his value without haggling. Within 18 months, Mark's business had completely transformed. He worked fewer hours, but created a much bigger impact and income. He was no longer a burnt-out freelancer. He had become an educator, an inspiring leader. He was no longer observing struggle. He was observing and embodying effortless prosperity. Mark's story proves an undeniable truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. Mark's outer world didn't change until he changed the signal he was broadcasting from within. His story is inspiring, but how did he ensure that this new reality wasn't just a lucky break? How did he lock it in and make it his new normal? In the next section, we'll explore the techniques to anchor your new reality and make your quantum leap your permanent home. A single leap can change your state in a moment, but what changes your life is the ability to stay there. Mark's story is inspiring, but how do you lock in your leap and make it your new normal instead of just a temporary visit? The answer lies in 2 crucial anchoring strategies: environment and evidence. Strategy 1. Curate your energetic environment. You may have heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm going to upgrade that for the quantum age. You are the average of the 5 frequencies you expose yourself to the most. Your new frequency after a leap is like a delicate seedling. If you plant it in toxic soil, it won't grow. Your surrounding environment, friends, family, social media, the news you watch, is that soil. If your environment is still broadcasting on the 97.5 FM of complaining, limitation, and doubt, it will constantly create energetic static, trying to pull you back to the old frequency. Think of your environment like a thermostat. You can try to be a blazing fire of new energy. But if the thermostat in the room is set to 60 degrees, the equivalent of negativity, it will constantly pump cold air to bring the room's temperature back to the default. You can't win against the thermostat. You have to reset it. So how do you reset your environment? Digital detox. Look at the 5 social media accounts you interact with the most. Do they make you feel inspired or inferior? Hit the unfollow button on energy sources that represent your old self. Mute the group chats that are just complaint sessions. Upgrade your content diet. Ask yourself, what books would my future self read? What podcasts would they listen to? What YouTube channels would they watch? Start consuming that content now. You're giving your brain the raw materials to build new neural highways. Audit your social circle. This is the most sensitive part. The goal isn't to ruthlessly cut people off. It's to lovingly create energetic distance. Spend less time with those who drain your energy and actively seek out communities and new friends who resonate with the frequency you're moving toward. Strategy 2. Become an evidence collector. Your old identity was built on years of evidence, of failure, lack, and limitation. To build a new identity, you must begin the process of consciously collecting new evidence. This is how you use neuroscience to your advantage. In your brain, there's a part called the reticular activating system, RAS. It acts as a filter, only allowing you to see what you tell it is important. If you believe life is hard, your RAS will diligently filter out and show you all the evidence of hardship. But if you give it a new command, show me the evidence that my new reality is arriving, it will obey that just as diligently. So start an evidence journal. Every night before you sleep, spend 5 minutes writing down 3 to 5 pieces of evidence, no matter how small, that your new reality is forming. If your new frequency is abundance, the evidence could be a friend buying you coffee, finding money in an old coat pocket, or getting an unexpected discount. If your new frequency is love, the evidence could be a stranger smiling at you, a deep conversation with a relative, or simply seeing a beautiful moment on the street. This practice creates a positive feedback loop. The more evidence you look for, the more you see. The more you see, the stronger your belief becomes. The stronger your belief, the more stable your frequency. The more stable your frequency, the bigger the evidence the universe sends you. To prove you're serious about this, I want you to do something right now. Take out your phone. Go to the social media you use most. Unfollow 5 accounts that no longer align with your new self. Then, find and follow 1 new account. A mentor, an artist, a leader who represents the exact frequency you are stepping into. Do it, right now. Sustainable change doesn't come from a single dramatic leap. It comes from creating an ecosystem where your new self can be nurtured and thrive. You anchor the new reality by consciously designing your environment and redirecting your focus. So now you have it all. You have the physical mechanism, the practical protocol, the roadmap through the challenges, and the strategy to maintain it. There is only one thing left to do, and that is to fully accept who you truly are. In the final part, we will reach the pinnacle of this journey. For your entire life, you've been taught to be a receiver, to sit and wait. Wait for permission. Wait for the right time. Wait for proof that you were good enough, worthy enough. Today, I'm here to tell you a final truth. That entire story is an illusion. You are not the receiver. You are the transmitter. The quantum field isn't happening to you. It is responding to you. We've gone on a journey together. From seeing the invisible walls of our reality to understanding the quantum mechanics behind it. We've dived into neuroscience, to break the addiction to our old selves, and learn to speak the language of the body to release trapped energy. I've given you the 5-step protocol to become the director of your frequency. We've decoded the chaotic void together and seen how an ordinary person like Mark applied all of this to completely change his life. Finally, you have the strategies to anchor and make your new reality your home. And it all comes down to one simple truth. This game was never about chasing a different reality. It was always about having the courage to broadcast a different signal. There is an extraordinary power in a decision that no one else can see. A quiet choice you make deep within your soul, before the evidence, before the applause, before the outside world catches up. That is the true quantum leap. Not the vision board, not the meditation, but the moment you stop broadcasting the signal of lack and start embodying the frequency of your true self with no witness but the quantum field itself, because the quantum field is always listening, not like a judge, but like an infinite mirror. A neutral intelligence that bends to only one thing, the signal you consistently broadcast. And now you know what that signal truly is. It's not your thoughts, not your words. It is the state of being that you maintain, even when no one is watching. The most powerful frequency you can hold is certainty. Not certainty in the outcome, but certainty in the person you have chosen to become. When you choose yourself, not once, but over and over again in the silence, in the unknown, in the waiting room between identities, you are sending the strongest signal the universe can receive. You are saying, "This is who I am, and I don't need proof to be it." That is when the change becomes real. That is when the new timeline can land, not because you chased it, but because you became resonant with it. You became it. So from this moment on, don't look for results. Look for resonance. Don't ask, "Is it working?" Instead, ask yourself the only question that matters. Am I broadcasting my future, or am I rehearsing my past? That one question alone has the power to collapse illusions, timelines, and old selves in a single breath. If something stirred within you during this video, if something clicked, shifted, resonated on a deep level that you can't quite explain, that is your energy field moving. That is coherence rising. That is your new timeline opening up, and this is what I want you to do next. Nothing drastic. Just one small step from this frequency. Maybe it's sitting in silence and breathing as your future self for just 60 more seconds. Maybe it's writing down the one word that defines the person you are now broadcasting. And if you want to continue receiving content that resonates with this field, that supports your expansion, your coherence, and your quantum evolution, I invite you to stay here, not just to subscribe, but to tune in. This isn't just a YouTube channel, it is a transmission station. Every time you return here, you're not just watching a video, you are reinforcing your frequency. So if this resonates with you, if you are done waiting for proof, if you are ready to embody the truth you've always felt deep inside, subscribe now. And for your first action from your new identity, leave a comment below with the one word that defines the frequency you are choosing to broadcast from this moment forward. Abundance, freedom, peace, power, love. Declare it. Anchor it. Become it. Because the universe has no choice but to reflect back the person you have decided to be. The field is listening. Broadcast wisely.